I still remember the day I stumbled upon the dusty old bookstore, its shelves overflowing with ancient tomes that seemed to whisper secrets to each other. The sign above the door read "Curios and Antiques," and I felt an inexplicable pull towards it. As a graduate student of philosophy, I had always been fascinated by the esoteric and the occult. My friends would often tease me about my fascination with Hermeticism, but to me, it was more than just a phase, it was a way of life. The store's owner, an elderly man named Mr. Jenkins, seemed to sense my interest in the occult. He would occasionally nod at me as I browsed through the shelves, his eyes gleaming with a knowing glint. One day, he approached me with a worn, leather-bound book in hand. "Ah, you found the Hermetic texts," he said, his voice low and gravelly. "A collection of ancient wisdom that has captivated scholars for centuries." I felt a shiver run down my spine as I opened the cover, releasing a musty scent into the air. The pages were yellowed, but the ink remained vibrant, as if infused with an otherworldly energy. "What is this?" I asked Mr. Jenkins, running my fingers over the intricate symbols etched into the margins. "The Kybalion," he replied, his eyes locked onto mine. "A text that holds the secrets of the universe hidden in plain sight." I felt a spark of excitement ignite within me, and I knew then and there that my life was about to take a drastic turn. Little did I know, this ancient text would become the catalyst for a descent into madness that would leave me questioning the very fabric of reality. As I delved deeper into the world of Hermeticism, I began to gather a group of like-minded individuals who shared my fascination with the subject. There was Emma, a historian with a keen eye for detail; Jack, a physicist with a passion for the mysteries of the universe; and Sarah, a spiritualist with a deep understanding of the human psyche. Together, we formed a loose-knit collective that met regularly to discuss our findings and share our theories. It was during one of these meetings that we stumbled upon the discovery that would change everything. We had been scouring antique shops and libraries for weeks, searching for any mention of the Kybalion. And then, on a whim, Emma suggested we visit an obscure bookstore in the city's oldest quarter. The store was tucked away on a narrow street, its sign creaking in the wind. We exchanged nervous glances as we pushed open the door and stepped inside. The air was thick with dust, and the shelves seemed to stretch up to the ceiling like sentinels. Jack wandered over to a nearby shelf, running his fingers over the spines of ancient texts. Emma began to scan the shelves for any sign of our quarry. And Sarah wandered to the back of the store, her eyes scanning the crowded shelves with an air of quiet reverence. It was then that I saw it, a slim volume bound in black leather, adorned with strange symbols that seemed to shimmer in the dim light. Emma gasped as she spotted it, and Jack rushed over to examine it more closely. Sarah, however, simply nodded to herself, as if she had known all along. "This is it," she whispered, her eyes locked onto the book. "This is the Kybalion." We gathered around the table, our hearts pounding with excitement and trepidation. As we opened the cover, a musty scent wafted up, carrying with it whispers of forgotten knowledge. The pages were yellowed, but the ink remained vibrant, as if infused with an otherworldly energy. We began to read, our voices barely above a whisper as we delved into the mysteries of the Kybalion. And then we stumbled upon it, a passage that spoke of the hidden key to unlocking the secrets of the universe. A phrase repeated throughout the text, echoing in my mind like a mantra. "The truth is not in the words, but in the silence between." As we delved deeper into the Kybalion, our excitement grew. The teachings of the ancient text seemed to resonate with us on a deep level, speaking directly to our desires for knowledge and understanding. We spent hours poring over the pages, taking notes and discussing the implications of each passage. Our meetings became more frequent as we devoured every word, every symbol, and every metaphor. The air was electric with anticipation, as if we were on the cusp of uncovering a long-lost secret that had been hidden for centuries. Emma began to see parallels between the teachings of the Kybalion and various philosophical traditions, from Plato to Jung. Jack started to apply the principles of the text to his work in physics, proposing new theories that challenged conventional wisdom. Sarah reported vivid dreams and visions, as if the text was awakening a deeper part of her psyche. I felt like I was unlocking doors within myself, as if the Kybalion was revealing hidden chambers of my own mind. The symbols and codes began to make sense, and I started to see the world in a new light. Every rock, every tree, every face seemed to hold a secret message, waiting to be deciphered. One evening, as we gathered around the table, Jack turned to us with an excited grin. "I've been thinking," he said. "What if this text is more than just a philosophical guide? What if it's a blueprint for reality itself?" We exchanged skeptical glances, but Emma spoke up, her voice filled with conviction. "What if we're not just reading a book? What if we're being initiated into a higher order of knowledge?" The room fell silent, as if the very air was charged with anticipation. We knew then that we had stumbled upon something much bigger than ourselves, something that would change us forever. As I looked around the table, I saw my friends transformed, their eyes aglow with an otherworldly intensity. We were no longer just scholars. We were seekers of truth, driven by a hunger to unlock the secrets of the universe. As we delved deeper into the mysteries of Hermeticism, our experiences began to take on a life of their own. We started to notice strange occurrences that couldn't be explained by rational thought. Emma would find herself lost in corridors of her own home, with no recollection of how she got there. Jack would hear whispers in his ear when no one was around. Sarah would see faces in the trees, watching her with an unblinking gaze. I began to feel a creeping sense of unease, as if I was being pulled apart by unseen forces. The symbols and codes that once seemed so clear now swirled together in a maddening dance. I started to question my own sanity, wondering if I had somehow become a pawn in some grand game. One night, we gathered around the table for our usual meeting, but something felt off. The air was thick with tension, and the shadows on the walls seemed to twist and writhe like living things. Emma spoke first, her voice barely above a whisper. "I've been having these dreams," she said, "dreams of a great city built on the principles of the Kybalion. A city where the laws of physics are bent and twisted to create something new and wondrous." Jack nodded in agreement, his eyes gleaming with an otherworldly intensity. "I've been seeing it too," he said. "A city of crystal spires and silver towers, where the very fabric of reality is woven from the threads of mathematics and magic." Sarah's face went white, her eyes fixed on some point beyond our own. "I've seen the faces in the trees," she whispered. "They're waiting for us. They're calling to us." I felt a chill run down my spine as I realized that we were no longer just discussing theories and ideas. We were on the cusp of something much bigger, something that threatened to consume us whole. As the night wore on, our conversation grew more and more surreal. We talked of portal keys and astral projections, of hidden dimensions and forgotten lore. The words spilled out of us like a madman's laughter, each one building upon the last in a crescendo of madness. And when we finally dispersed, the darkness seemed to press in around us like a living thing. I knew then that we had crossed a threshold, one from which there was no return. The Kybalion had unleashed its power upon us, and we were forever changed. As we delved deeper into the mysteries of Hermeticism, our understanding of the teachings became more refined. We learned about the importance of unity and balance in achieving true knowledge. The ancient texts taught us that opposites were not to be feared or avoided, but rather embraced as complementary aspects of a greater whole. We discovered that the universe was governed by a complex web of relationships, where each thread vibrated with its own unique frequency. To truly understand this harmony, we had to let go of our individual perspectives and merge with the collective unconscious. Emma, ever the seeker of truth, pored over the pages of the Kybalion, searching for answers to life's greatest mysteries. Jack, with his innate talent for mathematics, began to see the universe as a grand symphony of numbers and patterns. Sarah, with her intuitive nature, learned to listen to the whispers of the cosmos, allowing her to tap into its hidden wisdom. As we absorbed the teachings of the Hermeticist, our own energies began to shift. We felt ourselves becoming more like the universe itself, interconnected, interdependent, and infinitely complex. The boundaries between self and other, subject and object, began to blur. We realized that true knowledge was not something that could be acquired through mere intellectual understanding, but rather through a direct experience of the oneness that underlay all existence. And so, we embarked on a journey of inner transformation, one that would take us to the very heart of our own being. As we delved deeper into the mysteries of Hermeticism, our encounters with the supernatural grew more frequent and unsettling. We began to experience inexplicable events that challenged our perceptions of reality. Emma would find herself in places she had never been before, with no memory of how she got there. Jack would hear whispers in his ear when he was alone, words that seemed to come from nowhere and everywhere at the same time. Sarah would see shadowy figures lurking just beyond the edge of perception, their presence felt but unseen. And I began to experience vivid dreams that felt more real than my waking life. In these dreams, I saw visions of ancient civilizations and forgotten knowledge, hidden beneath the surface of reality like a vast, hidden ocean. But it was not until we stumbled upon an ancient text, bound in black leather and adorned with symbols of the occult, that our encounters truly became unsettling. The book seemed to radiate an otherworldly energy, as if it held secrets that were meant only for us. We spent hours poring over its pages, deciphering cryptic messages and unlocking hidden meanings. And what we found was that the book was more than just a text. It was a portal to another dimension, one that existed parallel to our own. As we delved deeper into the book's secrets, we began to realize that our perceptions of reality were but a thin veil, separating us from the unknown. We felt ourselves being pulled towards the void, like moths drawn to a flame. And yet, despite the terror that gripped our hearts, we couldn't help but feel drawn to the unknown, as if it held secrets and knowledge that would change us forever. As we delved deeper into the mysteries of the universe, our exploration became increasingly treacherous. The symbols and codes that once seemed so clear now twisted and writhed like living serpents, taunting us with their secrets. We stumbled upon ancient artifacts that seemed to hold the key to unlocking hidden dimensions, but each one revealed a new layer of complexity, like peeling back the layers of an onion. Jack's mathematical mind reeled as he struggled to comprehend the underlying patterns that governed reality. Emma's intuitive nature screamed at her to turn back, warning of unseen dangers lurking in the shadows. But Sarah, ever the seeker of truth, pressed on, driven by a hunger for knowledge that could not be satiated. I felt myself being pulled along, like a leaf on a river, carried by forces beyond my control. The boundaries between reality and madness began to blur, as if the very fabric of existence was unraveling before our eyes. We encountered entities that defied explanation, beings that seemed to exist outside the bounds of time and space. They whispered secrets in our ears, tempting us with forbidden knowledge that would change us forever. And yet, we felt drawn to them, like moths to a flame, powerless to resist their allure. The web of intrigue that had entwined us grew thicker, more complex, until it seemed impossible to discern truth from deception. We began to suspect that one of our own was playing a hidden game, manipulating events to suit some unknown agenda. Paranoia seeped into our minds like a chill, as we wondered if we would ever be able to escape the abyss that had consumed us. The darkness closed in around us, like a shroud, threatening to extinguish the flickering flame of knowledge that still burned within us. And yet, even as we succumbed to fear and doubt, we knew that we could not turn back now. We were trapped in this labyrinthine world, forced to navigate its twisting paths and confront the horrors that lurked within. The descent into the abyss had begun, and there was no escape. As we delved deeper into the heart of the labyrinth, our attention was drawn to a series of cryptic messages and symbols etched into ancient artifacts. The symbols seemed to dance across the surface of the objects, weaving a complex pattern that defied deciphering. We gathered around the artifacts, our eyes fixed on the intricate designs, as if they held the key to unlocking the secrets of the universe. Emma, with her intuitive nature, felt an inexplicable connection to the symbols, as if she had seen them before in a past life. Jack's analytical mind was drawn to the mathematical patterns that underlay the designs, searching for hidden codes and ciphers. Sarah, meanwhile, sensed that the symbols were more than just random patterns. They were a language, one that spoke directly to her soul. And I felt the weight of the symbols, as if they held a dark and ancient power that threatened to consume us all. As we pondered the meaning of the symbols, we began to realize that we were not alone in our quest for answers. A presence lurked just beyond the edge of perception, watching us with cold, calculating eyes. We sensed that this presence was both benevolent and malevolent, a being of great power who could grant us knowledge or destroy us with a single thought. The web of intrigue grew thicker, more complex, as we struggled to unravel its secrets. We discovered hidden messages etched into the walls of ancient temples, cryptic poems scrawled on parchment scrolls, and mysterious symbols that seemed to shift and change before our very eyes. With each new discovery, our questions multiplied, until it seemed impossible to discern truth from deception. The web of intrigue was a labyrinth of mirrors, reflecting our own fears and desires back at us in twisted, distorted images. And yet, we were drawn deeper still, helpless to resist the siren call of knowledge that beckoned us forward into the unknown. As we navigated the twisting paths of the web, we began to realize that some secrets were meant to remain hidden, that some truths were too terrible to be revealed. The question was, which ones would we uncover, and at what cost? As we delved deeper into the heart of the labyrinth, our perceptions began to shift. We realized that we were not alone in our quest for knowledge, but rather, we were being manipulated by forces beyond our control. The symbols and codes that had once seemed so clear now appeared as a web of deceit, designed to lead us astray from the true path. Emma felt an increasing sense of unease, as if she was trapped in a nightmare from which she couldn't awaken. Jack's analytical mind struggled to comprehend the nature of these unseen forces, but his conclusions only led to more questions. Sarah sensed that we were being played like pawns in a game of cosmic chess, with forces beyond our understanding pulling the strings from behind the scenes. And I felt the weight of the unknown, as if the very fabric of reality was unraveling before my eyes. As we navigated the twisting paths of the labyrinth, we began to realize that some secrets were too terrible to be revealed. The unseen forces seemed to be working against us at every turn, seeking to destroy us from within. We felt like ants on a spider's web, powerless against the forces that sought to manipulate and control us. And yet, despite this sense of hopelessness, we pressed on, driven by a burning desire to uncover the truth. For in the darkness, there was only one option: to face the unseen forces head-on, or risk being consumed by their power forever. As the events escalated, reality began to blur, making it increasingly difficult for the group to distinguish what was real and what was not. Emma's perceptions became fragmented, like shards of broken glass, reflecting multiple versions of truth. Jack's analytical mind struggled to keep up with the ever-shifting landscape, as if he was trying to grasp a handful of sand. The more he tried to hold on, the more it slipped through his fingers. Sarah felt herself losing her grip on reality, as if she was drowning in a sea of surreal imagery. And I felt like I was trapped in a dream from which I couldn't awaken, with no clear exit strategy. The lines between reality and madness began to blur, making it impossible to know what was real and what was not. The group's sense of cohesion began to fray, as if they were all stuck in different corners of the same madhouse. We started to question our own sanity, wondering if we had ever truly known anything at all. Was everything we thought we knew just a construct of our minds? Or was there something more to reality, something that lay beyond the veil of perception? The questions swirled through my mind like a maelstrom, making it hard to think straight. And yet, I couldn't shake the feeling that there was truth out there, waiting to be uncovered, if we could just find our way back to the surface from this depths of confusion. As the group finally deciphered the ancient text, they were met with a revelation that threatened to consume them all. The text was not just a collection of cryptic messages and symbols, but a warning of an impending catastrophe that would destroy the world as they knew it. The ancient civilization that had created this text had foreseen a great evil that would one day threaten humanity's very existence. And now, with their knowledge, we were being given the chance to prevent it. But at what cost? As we delved deeper into the text, we discovered that the key to preventing the catastrophe lay in the most unlikely of places, within ourselves. The symbols and codes that had once seemed like random patterns now revealed themselves as a map, guiding us towards a hidden truth about our own nature. We were not who we thought we were. Our memories, our thoughts, our very sense of identity was all a construct, a thin veil hiding the true reality from view. And the ancient text held the key to unlocking that reality. The group was faced with an impossible choice: to surrender to the truth and risk being consumed by it, or to deny it and continue on the path of ignorance. As we stood at the threshold of this revelation, we knew that our lives would never be the same again. The truth revealed, we were left to ponder the consequences of our newfound knowledge. Would we be able to overcome the darkness that threatened us, or would we succumb to its power? Only time would tell. As we stood at the precipice of our newfound understanding, the group's descent into madness culminated in a horrific revelation that left the reader with a lasting sense of dread. The truth, once revealed, was too much for some to bear. Emma's mind shattered under the weight of her own existence, while Jack's analytical mind was consumed by an abyss of existential despair. Sarah's grip on reality faltered, and she became lost in a labyrinth of her own fears. And I was left standing alone, my eyes fixed on the void that had opened before us like a chasm of eternity. The ancient text, once a source of power, now seemed like a curse, a harbinger of doom that had been unleashed upon us. In that moment, I knew that we were forever changed, our minds shattered by the horrors we had uncovered. And as I looked around at my companions, I saw that they too had been transformed, their eyes vacant, their smiles twisted into macabre grins. The world outside was still, but within our own minds, a maelstrom raged on, a tempest of terror that would haunt us for all eternity. And so we stood there, frozen in time, as the darkness closed in around us like a shroud, leaving only one thought echoing through my mind. It's too late. The page was left blank, the story unfinished, but the reader was left with a lasting sense of dread, knowing that some secrets were better left unspoken.